What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good evening. I know this is later than I usually make a video, and I did want to get this video out a little bit earlier than this, but had some things going on earlier, things that are, quite frankly, more important because we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of draft season, and at the end of the day on this channel, it's all about football. But we have played our first 10 games here in Mariners land, and I want to go over it real quick. I want to talk about what we've seen so far from the Mariners. Yeah, it's bad, right? That was a terrible start to the season. Straight up, nothing was good from those first 10 games. But, you know what? They won 4 of them, which is, I'd say, at least 2 wins more than they deserve with the way they played. So, it's not a disaster. It's not something that we have to freak out about. It's just not a great start, and if it ends up being representative of what we do the rest of the way, then it's going to be a season that gets a lot of people fired. But we can say that in football terms, we just played our first game, and it was not good, but it's one game. If this was a football season, that would have been the first game. It wouldn't have gone well, would have been a close loss, but you're moving on. You're moving on, and you know nothing's over yet. So let's talk about those first 10 games. Really, really disheartening overall for me. Mostly with the lineup. And look, I get it. When it comes to batters, when it comes to hitting, when it comes to that element of baseball, you need to see a lot of baseball before you draw any conclusions. But that was disheartening, what we saw from the lineup over the first 10 games. There was I think after the first 6 games, we had a team-wide batting average of under 200. The Milwaukee series went a little bit better for the offense overall, but we're still the only team in baseball that hasn't had 6 or more runs in a game yet, and it's been disheartening. The only things on this team that feel positive right now would be Driveline looked like it worked pretty well for Ty France because Ty France has played fairly well. Mitch Haniger has played really well. He's done some really nice things for us. And I guess Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore has played well so far. And I'm sure you could find 1 or 2 other things that are promising, but overall, those would be the 3 things I would point to if I'm trying to find something to get excited about with this lineup, because otherwise, and I know it's a small sample size, I'm not trying to suggest otherwise, it has been ugly. You've got Cal. Cal has been completely useless with a bat in his hand. Julio. Now, I'll say this. I think Julio's at-bats are looking pretty good. I don't hate the way that he's playing in terms of fundamentals. I don't hate the way that he's looking in terms of, like, how he's approaching these at-bats. I'm not saying anything negative about that. But the numbers are awful so far. Garver has had a lot of high leverage at-bats so far in his Mariners career, despite only playing in, what, 6 games? 6 games? And seems like he doesn't come through in them most of the time, which has been really frustrating. And we haven't seen the power yet. There's J.P. Crawford has been. You can tell he's frustrated. J.P. Crawford has been atrocious just overall to start this season, and that's not going to be something that we can survive. I don't think we needed J.P. to be as good as he was last year, and so far he has been as bad as he's ever been while being a Mariner. Again, small sample size, but this lineup has been mostly inept. Um, Not a lot of power, not a lot of timely hitting. Our hits seem to be really scattered across a game, which I understand there's a lot of luck involved in that kind of stuff, right? Excuse me. Like, I understand that there isn't a lot of correlation between a team stringing hits together at some point during the season and stringing them together at another point. It's just kind of random, but it does feel like there's something going on with this team when they have runners on in scoring position. So, lineup wise, I like Arias. Arias has been good. I guess you could throw him into the positive group as well, but the guys that we need to be hitting really well, Cal, Julio, JP, like that's a pretty significant chunk of what you got going for you. Garver, I'll throw Garver in there as well. And Garver's already missed a few games now, so people get to freak out a little bit about that too, I guess. So it's just one of those things because by the way, Haniger played what, 9 games out of the first 10, I think. I think Haniger only missed 1 game. That's not going to hold. He's probably going to need 3 games off for every 10 we play for most of the season. And Haniger played fairly good. Haniger had a good season so far. So if we're going to lean on that, that's not something we're going to be able to completely depend on going forward. So yeah. It seems like the approach is bad. And of course, not to put a lot of stock into this, but you take a look at what's happening with some of our former Mariners, and I'm not going to freak out about this because it's 10 games. Suarez, Kelnick, Winker all playing so much better. It's like, what are we doing wrong? Because it feels like we're doing something wrong. So the pitchers, again, I don't want to make any sweeping judgments here, but tomorrow we've got Castillo going on the mound. Well, next game. I can't remember if we have tomorrow off or not. I don't think we do. But next game, we've got Castillo. If he has a bad start or not a good start or maybe even not a great start, people are going to start freaking out, and I can't blame him anymore. He was bad at the end of the year last year. He's been bad in 2 starts so far this year. I think the silver lining is that he looked really, really good, and then the wheels fell off for 1 bad inning in that second game. So he still has stuff. But there's going to be some real panic because we need Castillo. This team doesn't have enough going for it to where they can survive Castillo just suddenly deciding, oh, I'm not a very good pitcher anymore. I'm a number 4 guy now at best. And through the first couple games of the year, he has been worse than that even. So he's got some work to do. And if he decides to go the way of Felix Hernandez and just is, done earlier than people expected, like he's not even that old and he's already done, then cancel it. Because then you just have a normal rotation. You don't have a Studley rotation. Kirby had maybe the worst start of his life last week. First start was brilliant, but it makes you wonder what's going on here, what's up with the approach. Playing a Cleveland team that is certainly going to be good this year, I think, but that was as bad as he's ever looked, and he's faced some really good lineups in his career. He's been up for over a year now, over a year worth of starts, and for him to look that inept in that game is concerning. You've got Gilbert's, I guess, been okay overall. The only starter that's really been good, like actually good, like a positive presence for this team has been Miller. His first game, he gave up runs, but I don't think he pitched badly at all. And the second game, he was incredible and probably should have gotten the complete game if Scott didn't mess up. So we need Wu back ASAP. Hancock pitched all right his first game badly today, but we need Wu back. Hancock, I don't think it's going to last. I don't think he's going to be able to be. I don't think his performance is sustainable. And we need these guys to actually start playing up to their potential. And I have a good amount of faith they will, right? We've seen them be good for an extended period of time. I don't think they're just bad players all of a sudden, like they can't pitch. But it needs to happen. Can't just keep talking about how good they are, and then we look up every game and they're giving up 4 to 6 runs in 4 to 5 innings. So get it together there. The defense has been awful. So that part of the team's not doing well. Errors, mistakes. Third base, I don't know what we're going to do with third base at this point. Like, that's going to be an issue. Probably just going to have to be something that we live with what's going on at third base. Outfield defense has been good, I guess, but the infield defense has been a journey. And I don't know if it's going to get better this year. Not really. There's not much we can do. There's not anybody we can call up. The only thing I can say is that Zavala has been a complete train wreck so far. So maybe Harry Ford gets called up to play catcher behind Cal. But is he going to be able to do anything? Like, it's going to be his first action in the MLB if we do that. And that's not going to fix the issues we have at these other positions. So hopefully things get better there. But that's an area of the team that I just think we're going to have to survive with knowing that, our infield defense is not that good. The Namely third base. Like, I think JP will be fine. I think that Polanco will be fine. France is fairly good at first base. But for me, overall, that third base spot is just a problem that will not go away unless we make some big trade later in the season, which we have to win games to earn that right. And bullpen, I mean, been rough. Been rough. Munoz walking everybody in that game against Milwaukee to blow the game. We had a lot of walks today, if I recall correctly. Kind of messy from the bullpen as well overall. So that is all about injuries. We're missing two key guys, especially Brash. Got to have Brash. So I'm not going to drill anybody over that. I'm not going to kill anybody because we don't have a Brash, and we don't have you guys know who I'm talking about. But they're not going to be back for a while, so we're going to have to survive a little bit without them. And coaching, the manager. Can't say he's done a great job either. Overall, I can't hate on him for what's going on with the bullpen because we're missing so many guys, but what's up with these lineups, right? Like, why isn't Luke Rowley playing more? Guy's good. Why isn't Luke out there pretty much every day in some capacity? It doesn't make sense. Why is he pulling Bryce Miller when he's playing the game of his life after 7 innings? He's got 78 pitches. Your bullpen is gassed. Leave your starter out there as long as humanly possible. You have a 4-0 lead. So even he's not doing that great. And I generally defend Service. I think Service is a pretty good manager. I think he's the best we can do. But it hasn't been a good start to the season for him either. All right. I will see you guys later. Go Mariners. But nothing is working with this team well right now overall. Individuals are playing fairly well, but no area of baseball is good. And yet here we are at 4-6. So see you guys later. Go Mariners. Going to be on Twitch a little later probably. If not, catch you tomorrow.